Good afternoon. Welcome to Real Talk Live with Arnette D. Love, and I am just ecstatic about being in your earless and presence. I cannot wait to talk this conversation. This short that is called the short story. Let's talk story. Let me put it to you that way. I can't wait because I want to talk today about heritage. Okay, so and how many people actually know about their heritage? You know, that's something that we normally don't study or don't research. Um, we have a lot of different ways now that we can find out our backgrounds, and so I want to start. I want to start by actually defining heritage, right? Okay. So let's see if we can get the real meaning of heritage. Heritage, property that is or may be inherited in inheritance, a special or individual possession, an allotted portion. Um, let's do this. The real meaning of heritage. Heritage is the full range of our inherited traditions, monuments, objects, and culture. Most important, it is the range of contemporary activities, meanings, and behaviors that we draw from them. I think I like that one. The range of contemporary activities, meanings, and behaviors that we draw from them. Our heritage, our traditions, monuments, objects, our culture. Now, do you know what your heritage is? Let's see. Hold on. So, okay. This is saying that the three elements used to describe historic heritage are fabric, stories, and cultural. And one of or all of these things make up the historic heritage of a place. Okay, so I know for sure that my heritage includes Africa. I know that for sure. I know that we are over 70%, nearly 80% Nigerian heritage. We have Congo in us as well. We have I think that was about a 4-5%, something like that. We have 1% of Native American, which I'm surprised because our grandmother was half Indian on my mother's side, so I was surprised with that small percentage. But maybe that's where my hair came from. I don't know. But we do have 1% of that, and then we have 1% of Scottish. I think that was I believe Scottish. That we're 1% of Scottish, and but we are also another percentage of Africa. So basically, over 90% of my DNA comes from Africa, but the majority comes from Nigeria. So sometimes I'm thinking, had not my ancestors came over to the United States, I would be one of those Nigerian girls, those Niger girls. And then the question is, are we, or how would we be accepted? I mean, this is the kind of thing. This is where my mind goes when I think about my heritage. Now, how do we find our heritage? And this is not a plug for anybody because I'm definitely not getting paid. But Ancestry DNA pulled it up, and why do I believe in that? Because I know that Ancestral DNA has connected us with the right people. So if you don't know, we found our third sister, my third sister, through Ancestral DNA. She found us. And so it come that she was our blood sister. And if y'all have seen her, she and I look just alike. It's just that she's light and I'm dark. And it's amazing how it works. But, when the push come to shove, everybody had to agree that, yes, she is who she is. She is my sister. She is, you know, my father's child. So it works. And then when you do your DNA in that and you push, they run it, you come up with other family members who have also submitted their DNA for their ancestry. So my ancestry, like I told you, it goes back to Africa, you know, and everybody that's black, I mean, I guess you could be anywhere, not just Nigeria. Like I said, we do have some Congo, and we had something else, but I can't remember. But I know that most of our DNA is what's back to Africa. So I mean, I'm just really excited about that. And being that is Black History Month, I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about, you know, the different, okay. So I thought that it would be appropriate to discuss the different places that we're from, because it is Black History Month, and the different things that we had to go through and or have experienced. Now, I can only tell you, for some of the things, I can only tell you about what my mother and my grandmother had went through during Black History Month. I can remember my grandmother telling me, and I can remember another lady telling me the same exact thing of, you know, sitting at the counter and protest because they weren't allowed to eat at certain restaurants. And so I guess the young adults were tired of it, and they decided that they were going to do some sit-ins, and that's exactly what they did. They went in, they all got together, and they had a plan, and they decided that they're going to sit in at these certain restaurants that would not allow them to. And they told me about how, you know, they were treated in doing so, because basically they were breaking the law, and it was unwanted. It was something new. It was, you know, it was forbidding. And they had objects thrown at them. They were cussed. They were cussed at. They were called names. They were degraded. One lady was telling me how her friend had ketchup poured over on top of her head, and you know, just was not respected at all. And they were demanding respect. They were demanding a place in society. And I'm talking about the Black students. They were demanding that. And I'm not telling you something that we think happened. I'm telling you something that has happened, and the people that experienced it was able to tell me their experience, and I'm just sharing it with you, you know, because that's a part of history, and it's nothing to be upset about at this time, because it happened. They did that for us, that we can now visit any restaurant that we want, and they did that for us. So it's no need for us to be upset about it, but we need to know what took place. We need to know the sacrifices that our ancestors had made for us. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to hear it from the people that actually were involved in these events. You know, it wasn't a history lesson for me, other than the fact that it came from the person that actually sat at the counters. And I think for me, that was better to be able to look in their face and see the hurt and pain that they went through and that they experienced, and be able to be proud of the fact that they were brave enough to do these things so that I wouldn't have to do it, that I wouldn't have to carry that burden, that load, and my children. So it's not for us to be upset. It's for us to be informed. It's for us to have that knowledge of what took place. And I don't see anything wrong with that, about teaching history the way that history happened. And it's not to be causing a division. It's to show growth. It's to show change. It's to show change in mindset. To show that, yeah, we were once there, but we are getting away, or we have gotten away from that. So that is not where we are today. We may have a little bit of these things going on, but for the most part, that is not where we are today. So as far as hating anybody, that's not in me, because I can pretty much guarantee that in 2023, none of these individuals did that to my family back then. None of those individuals treated my grandmother like that back in those days. So why would I hold them accountable for what their ancestors did? And let me tell you something. We have to remember, it was the law. All laws don't make it right, but it was the law at the time. You see what I'm saying? And so even for those who did not agree with excluding the people of color from these restaurants, they had no choice, because it was the law. It was the law. So I don't believe in teaching hate. I believe in teaching knowledge. I believe in teaching what happens, and that's, you know, what we should do. We should not teach our history so that we will hate each other. We should teach our history so that we will be advised, so that we would understand what happens, okay? And what happened is that there was, you know, a division once. Everybody know that. We know about segregation and desegregation. We know about that. Remember? We know. We know when the schools were segregated. Excuse me. Now, another thing that I heard from the horse's mouth, my mother was a part of the Norcom class that never was. And if I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I'm correct. I believe okay, I believe it was the 1973 class. That was the class that my mother was a part of. It took 46 years for that class to reunite and graduate. And they did that on June 3rd. And I think it was 2019, because I was there, my mother was there. And it was just fascinating how these once classmates got together and just celebrated their graduation 46 years later. It was so many tears. I mean, it was amazing. It was a beautiful sight. So many of their classmates didn't get to see that day, but they had family members who were able to come and stand in the gap for those who were not there. And like I said, my mother was a part of it. We were able to watch her and root her on, and her great-grandkids were yelling and screaming for her as she walked across the stage to graduate in honor of her high school class of 1973. And if you don't know about that class, this was the year that Norcom was divided. They wanted to bus them to different schools and to segregate the schools. And they had spent all these years together, and this one year, this class was supposed to graduate, and this was the year that they were going to separate them and bus them out and put them in different schools. They didn't want to do it. The kids did not want to leave each other. Some of them refused to go to the new schools, so they dropped out. Can you imagine? They dropped out. Some of them got their GEDs. Some of them went on to work for the shipyard. Some did get some trades or whatnot to be able to, be self-sufficient. Some went on in the military. But that decision to integrate that particular year changed many lives. And it wasn't like it was planned. The kids did not know. My mother said they didn't know. They went to school and all of a sudden, bam, this is what's happening. They didn't prepare them for it. They just told them this is what you're getting ready to do. And these kids was not having it. So, I mean, I have pictures of my mother and her classmates. I was able to talk to the classmates. I mean, grown men crying and talking about how it was long overdue. I remember all of that, being told to me. But until I saw that day when they were able to graduate, it did not resonate on how hurt and how painful it was for that class in 1973. What was it, 73 or 72? It's 1972. That was the year I was born. It was 1972, the class that never was. That's what it was, okay? But it wasn't, it didn't resonate until I saw it. I mean, until I saw it. And that's when I realized that, wow, they had something taken away from them that could never be replaced. But even though it wasn't replaced, it was commemorated in this act of kindness from the city. So this is the kind of things that went on in Black history. Nobody wants to think about the bad things. Nobody wants to dwell on the bad things. I sure don't. But it's not a doubt that bad things happen. Bad things happen to good people. And that's why we had activists like Martin Luther King, and that's why we had activists, okay? Because things were happening and it wasn't equal. Things weren't equal for everybody, and that's what they were fighting for. And so we don't dwell on hatred. We dwell on history. We make sure that we continue to rise above everything that our ancestors have been fighting for. And this is the reason why I can't stand to hear these children out here calling each other the N-word. And whenever I hear it, I talk to them about it and I explain to them the negative vibe of that. I explain to them why it's important not to call each other, not to refer to each other in that manner. I explain to them the hate behind that word in hopes that they would stop referring to each other as that. I would like to hear our youth refer to each other as kings and queens. I would like for our youth to uplift each other. I would like for them to be more positive and supportive in each other. I would like to tell them about the times where we had a ton of businesses in the area. We had all downtown Portsmouth, because y'all know where I am, all downtown Portsmouth, we had businesses in the area with people of color, with African Americans, if that's what you call yourself. I call myself an American, you know what I'm saying? I do. I'm like in between. It's like when I go to Africa, will they really accept me? I don't know. I really don't know. I've been told no, they wouldn't. I've been told they think that we're not smart. I don't know. I would like to know. Y'all know I do be talking to Africans. So one day I'm going to ask them what they really think of us. I thought that one of them might pop in and I could talk to them, but they're not here. So, but that's what I be wanting to know. Do you really? How do y'all see us? So, but what I'm saying is, you have black people owning shops down here in Portsmouth, on High Street. Let me see, on High Street, on Effingham. And the reason I know, because as a little girl, I walked down those streets, and I saw it. I saw the hair salon, the hairstyles, the barber shops. I saw the shoe shine men. I saw these business owners, the bakeries. I saw it. I saw these women working at these bread companies. I saw the lunch ladies that were proud to serve us, that made us the best food when we were growing up in school, that didn't complain about feeding us, that took pride in their job. Yeah, to be a lunch lady, that was a prideful job. And how dare any of us look at them as if they're less than. That we need them. And so I saw all this as a child. I'm so glad that I was able to catch a glimpse of our history. I'm so glad that I was able to see entrepreneurs that look like me in our city. I've seen it, and I know that it can be done again. And I don't believe that when people of other race talk about how we're not doing anything and how we're lazy and how we don't try. I don't really see that as them being racist. I don't see that. I see that as the fact that they remember too. They remember when we had our own businesses. They remember when we used to work to make sure that we had what we needed in our community. That's the way I see it. I see it as something that's going to motivate me to do what our ancestors and our relatives used to do not too long ago. I'm talking about in the 70s. These people was hustling grocery stores and everything. And the thing was, because we couldn't go certain places, we weren't welcome in certain places, so we had to have our own cleaners. We had to do that, and we were doing it. And if we were doing it then, even though we don't have to do it, and we can use everybody's establishment, we can still do it. We can still be businessmen and women. We can still be entrepreneurs. We can still push our own agendas. Make our own money to where we don't have to rely on our government for much. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to get anything from the government, but you use everything as a stepping stone. And then once you can get away, you get away. If you need, assistance, you get the assistance. But you get the assistance while you're working on getting free, while you're working on releasing. You don't stay there, and you don't teach your kids to be there and stay there, and their kids and so on and such. You teach them how to build on where they are and be able to let go, be able to release. That's what I believe in. And I'm just so thankful that my mother trained us to have our own. And my mother always had her own job, or her own business. Even though she worked for other people, my mother had something to call her own. And I watched her say, basically, I can do this, this, and this. And she had her goals. And my mom made her money. You understand me? And so she had her goals and what she needed to make at her other job to make ends meet and then some. Okay? So I watched my mom be an entrepreneur in this city for over 30 years. I even watched my father. He kept his own business. And you know what? Regardless of how productive it was, he didn't give up. He kept his own business. And this is the thing that we have to remember. We have to maintain. We have to continue to push and be proud of what we're doing and persistent. And even though it doesn't yield a huge return, the return of self-satisfaction, the return of being a business person, the return of being an entrepreneur, the return of just being proud to say that you're working for something that is your own, that should be rewarding in itself. I mean, we're talking about heritage. I'm talking about heritage as well. You know, we're talking about coming from people, and I am referencing Black History Month here. We're talking about coming from people who took pride in having their own. We're talking about coming from people who took pride in saying that I will work, I will do this, and we're going to make this happen. That's what I'm talking about today. I come from Nigerians. Y'all heard that Nigerian last week say that they work. Nigerian men works. He's not lying. They do work. They do work. I was being an antagonist, but they do work and will work. Now, they're going to do what they're going to do, but they're going to work. And that's where some of us come from. That's where I come from. That's my heritage. That is where my DNA lies. My ancestry lies in Nigeria. And I believe in working as well. And I'm going to take that tradition of working and continue to work. And whether it yields me a lot of money or a small bit of money, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to say that I have been striving to do something to say that I'm not depending on the government. I'm not dependent on the city. I'm not dependent on anyone. And yeah, let me make this perfectly clear. When you have retired, you have done your work. So don't feel guilty about receiving a retirement check. That is what you worked for. That is what you deposited into. You invested in that, and you are yielding, you're reaping your benefits. So I'm not talking about that, because nobody will make me feel bad about my retirement. I worked hard. I worked like a dog since I was 16 years old. I worked. I got down and dirty, literally. Worked. Military, deputy sheriff, running around here doing security for GA summits and stuff like that. I worked, okay? I worked on the street, doing traffic. I worked. Fighting up in the jails. I worked. So God blessed me to be able to retire early. I worked for that retirement. And I'm still working. And I'm still just ecstatic about the fact that God did give me that blessing. But you know what? He didn't just give me that blessing for me. He gave me that blessing for someone else, because my work now consists of doing what I'm doing now, and that is reminding you that you have to continue to work. You have to continue to work. Just because a person says that you're not doing anything with your life, that doesn't make them prejudiced. That doesn't make them a racist. They see something in you. They see something that you can be and that you don't see in yourself. And you get offended because they're telling you something that your parents probably should have told you. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. I'm telling you, I don't take everything that people say and hold it against them. I look at the big picture. Okay, forget who's telling me. It could be a box with a mouth telling me something, but if it's true, why not follow suit? Why not make this thing a lie? If somebody tell me I'm not doing anything and I'm not trying and I'm worthless, okay, oh no, I'm going to show you who's worthless. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to beat feet and I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to build a name for myself. And let me tell you something. Sometimes the name is richer than your money. Sometimes just being who you are and being respected for who you are can yield you more than money can. And so if that's all you do is get out here and make yourself a good name in the city, So may it be. Congratulations. But you have worked for that name. You had to do something, had to have done something for people to trust your name. So don't think every time somebody says something about you, especially if you know it's true, don't think it's somebody that's against you. Okay? If you know you're not doing anything, go do something. Go do something. We have, should I say, because I don't know who I'm talking to, but we have a gift within us. And some of us have more than one gift. We have gifts within us. There is something in us that will take us all over this world. There is something in us that will make sure that we are taken care of throughout our lives. We all have a gift that is sufficient for our living. We just have to tap into that gift, pray for that gift, pray for expansion, find out how to use it, and make it work for us. And I tell people, I sing a little bit, but I don't think that's the gift that God gave me to take care of me. I have the gift of speaking. I have the gift of being truthful when I speak and people can hear it. People tell me, I remember when I was running for election, the lady said, I want to talk to you. I want to feel your spirit. I want to feel the truthfulness. And when I talk, I only talk from a place of truth and transparency. Because if I don't mean it, I ain't going to say it. And I'm telling you, I mean it when I say that there is a gift that each and every one of us have that will be sufficient for our lives. Whether your gift is doing hair, I promise you, if you expand on your gift, that will yield you what you need to take care of you and your family. Whether your gift is cooking, the same. My gift is speaking. And I trust God that my future is going to be better than my past. And the gift that he gave me will not be in vain. You got to do the same thing. You have to believe in your gift. You have to, and stop being afraid to make moves. Because listen, our ancestors were not afraid to make moves. They were not afraid to provide. How do you think these people, our ancestors, our family members, took care of 12 children on a small one-income household budget? Because normally the mother was working. It was the father. Well, the mother worked from home with the children. The father was working. And they took care of all these kids. Come on, think about it. Because even though we make more now, you equate the money during the time. So $100 back in the 60s or 50s was a whole bunch of money back then. Just like $1,000 is a lot of money, during maybe 20 years later. So it was the same. It's the same. And they were making it work. With a one-income household, they were making it work. And we sitting here struggling because we're not trying. And then we want to say somebody is against us. Nobody's against us but us. Nobody is stopping us but us. You come from a rich heritage. You come from a rich heritage. You do. You come from determination. You do. You come from respect. You do. And we would take and degrade each other and degrade ourselves. And you don't have to listen to me. I'm not going to be mad because you don't listen to love. I'm just here to put it out. You live your life the way you want to live it. But I'm telling you that we can be so much more if we stop thinking everybody is against us and start taking what is ours legally. My grandmother told me before she died, don't wait for her son to give me anything. That's what she told me. And she told me that not only on her deathbed, she had told me that previously. That's what she told me. Don't you wait for him to give you anything. If God said it's yours, it's yours. If God called you to preach, you preach by any means necessary. You are not like anybody else. You are love. Do it the way love do it. That is what she told me. Repeatedly. Repeatedly, she told me that. Do it the way love do it. And that's what I do, y'all. I do it the way I do it. My way might take forever for me to reap the benefits, and my children might reap the benefits from me doing it my way. But I'm going to do it the way love do it, because that's who he called. He called love. He didn't call a pretend person. He didn't call a fake love. He called love. He didn't call me to act like I'm somebody else, and I'm not going to do it. He didn't call me to butter up to people and lie to you to get you to do what I want to do, want you to do. No, he didn't call that. He called love, and eventually, whoever love is supposed to be reaching, love will reach. Let me tell you, I really don't care how much more money you make over me. I don't care. I'm going to root you on. I want you to be productive. I'm 50 years old. I don't know how much more time God has for me on this earth. I'm blessed to see 50. I'm satisfied. But as long as I'm breathing and blood is flowing warm through my veins, I am going to continue to push others. And I want you to know that you were born. You were born to be great. You were born to be great. There is something in you that you can do that will make you more than what you can ever imagine. So I'm asking you to find your gift. I'm asking you to expand your gift. I am asking you to continue to work. Don't give up on yourself. Do not give up on yourself. You're better than that. You are better than giving up. And there is something in you. And listen, I don't care how many times you have to start over. Start over. I don't care. It does not take much to start a business. I can give you a 15-minute class on how to start your business from top to bottom. And it'll take you less than 2 days if you get to work in the mornings to start your business. And you will be a business owner wherever you are. So I'm asking you to apply yourself. You come from greatness. You do. You come from greatness. And you had people fight for you. Don't stop fighting. Don't give up. Don't go backwards. They fought for us to be to where we are. And we just going to give up? We can't do that. Listen, God loves you. I love you. Make sure you love yourself. Go on and love someone else until we shall meet again. May God bless you real good. You take care of yourself. And remember, you are greatness.